Hey y'all, this is Lucy. I'm switching cameras, I hope. I'm switching this out of the way. There you go. Oh, and I forgot my glasses. My glasses are really just a prop. They make me feel hidden and a little more secure, but I'll be bold and do without them today. Can you hear me? Let me see. I'm trying to look in the chat if anyone is here. I think I'm on the wrong. I have to be on Chrome to see the chat, I believe. Let me go to YouTube. And today I'm going to show you how to make texture paint. I really like texture paint. I think it adds so much to the houses. And let's see, go to YouTube. Yep, I don't think that's going to work. YouTube. Oh, wait, I got it. Okay, let me go to live. Let's see if I'm there. And if you guys are there. Oh, yes, I see people. Okay, yes, and so like I said, I'm going to do texture paint today. I want to show you that, but I also wanted to show you some texture from yesterday. I ordered this paper too late. This is from 12 by 12 Cardstock Company, and I made a little book, and I used their, it's not really faux leather like my friend Amy does. She makes earrings with faux leather. It's leather embossed paper, and it is beautiful, and it really looks like leather. So it's from 12 by 12 Cardstock Shop. So I hope you will go and get some for your little books, because it's, you know, it really looks like leather. I was so excited when I got it. But I got it in the afternoon right after I did the tutorial. Okay, so first I'm going to show you some houses that I've made that have texture paint on them. Let me see. I did one specific tutorial. I call these plaster houses. I've got the link to the tutorial, to the written tutorial in my website. But this one I mixed some coarse sand with the house and with the paint, so that made that kind of texture on it. This one I used a finer grain sand, and I like that. And then this one I think I just did kind of painted a thick layer of paint. So that's a little what I call the plaster house, but you're going to really like this one. This one I call Giving Thanks. This was my, I guess it's really about the only Thanksgiving house I've made. And let me see if you can see. So I mixed in sand, and sometimes you can see a little sparkle from it. This is fine craft sand, and you can get it at your hobby stores. You can order it online. And that's what I'm going to use for today, the fine craft sand. And it just really looks like plaster and just adds kind of an extra dimension to your house, so it's not so flat. Now, I do make these with cardboard. I haven't experimented with cardstock, but I think you could use like a heavier cardstock, 110, or you could use something like watercolor paper, which is comes as 140 pound, which I think is over. If the metric system, it's over 300 grams per meter GSM. So anyway, we'll need to experiment with that. But this is the Thanksgiving house, and I think that's the only, those are the ones that I've got that have texture, have just plain texture paint. But this is my castle for the Make a Castle challenge, and I stenciled it and then painted stones. When I use a stencil, I actually don't use my texture paint. I really like, oh please tell me I have it nearby, grit paste. You know, I like Tim Holtz. Tim Holtz grit paste. It goes on really smooth, and it is expensive, but if you use your stencil and you kind of smooth it out really flat, you don't end up using much. So you can, I didn't use a whole jar for this castle. And I have another house. I forgot about this house, but it actually has kind of a bat fence. This is I think I called it Stone Stencil House. So if you didn't get the VIP bat fence, you can get this bat fence. It's actually just the gate is the bat. And I stenciled that with grit paste and then painted it. I'm not going to do a tutorial on how to do the stones because I've already got a good video on how I paint stones. And I'll go over it a little bit when we talk about distress techniques. Okay, so let's get started with the actual making the paint. First, you need a jar. It's just so much easier to mix in a jar, and then, you know, if it dries out or something, you can just throw it away. Although I've had some that's lasted a long time. It sort of depends on how tightly you close the jar. Or you can actually put a piece of plastic wrap on top and then put the lid on, and that kind of keeps it from drying out even better. Okay, sand. This is craft sand. It's for ages 3+. And it's, again, very inexpensive. You can get it in your hobby stores. And you can find it sometimes on the bridal aisle because people will use this to anchor candles. And so you can find it there. But I think it's cheaper if you get it through the kids aisle. You know, it's just you know how that is. It's just a little more fancier if you get it from the bridal aisle than if you get it from the kids aisle. And then there's some other ones I got, and these were on the bridal aisle. This is a coarse sand. You can see how nice and sparkly it is. But as you can imagine, it would make a much more coarse surface to your project. Okay, wait, I forgot to look. Oh, I forgot to look to make sure you can hear me. Oh yes, people are saying they can hear me. I'm so glad. And this is coarser than the play sand, than the craft sand, but it's still pretty fine. So you can see it's been well used. Oops, sorry about that. And okay, now I'm going to switch to my top-down camera, I hope. So first I get the halo effect. And then I'm going to switch cameras. Where is it? Top-down. Oh shoot, I forgot something. I'm not clicking it right. Sorry, y'all. I mean, I can show you this way. What is it? Okay, I'm going back. Oh, I have to unlock it. Maybe. Well, it's not working. Or it did. I promised I practice over and over. But you know how tech things are. We can work around it. Okay, so this is my jar. And this is kind of the texture paint I use. So let me get out some of my brushes. And you need really firm brushes for this. And you know, don't get fancy brushes, but I mean, you can see this one's been around for a long time. It's covered in layers of paint. And I use a plastic knife to stir it up. Now what I was trying to see if I could let you know, I'm trying not to drip on my computer, if you can see that it's got a little bit of gritty texture to it. So this is how we make it. The base paint, also, you need to don't use your fancy paint. If you're going to mix it up, you don't want to make a big batch and then you've got all your expensive paint tied up with sand in it. You don't really want sand. So I use a base color and then I paint over it. So I'm using gesso. Oh, there's an echo in my video. No, everything. Wait, let me see. Thank you for letting me know. Let me mute that. See, did the echo go away? Okay. Songbird. That was appropriate. Songbird helped me. Okay, so I just squirt this in my jar. Sand. Okay, and I'm just pouring in a bunch of sand. And mix it up. Let's see if we can tell. Yes, you can see it's much thicker and grittier. Again, much grittier. And it'll make a really nice texture. Okay, so it really, and I don't know, I poured in, I don't know, half an inch of sand. And it'll, remember, this paint already had some sand in it. And oh, I like that. And you can make it thicker. Let's try a little bit thicker, just kind of see what happens. Sometimes it won't spread, and when I paint, I'll show you. There, you can see that's even grittier. Sometimes it's a little harder to paint when you get when it's so thick. It doesn't go on quite as flat. You just kind of have to experiment. I use gesso because it's I can get a pretty good big jar of it, and it's flat. It's a matte paint. It's very matte. It doesn't have any kind of shine to it. So, and it's so easy to paint over. All right, this is my piece. Let's see if we can do. Yeah. It's kind of an awkward view, but you can see it. All right, got my old brush, and I'm going to apply it. Oh, I forgot one thing. If you're making a house, fold along the score lines before you paint something like this on it, because it will kind of obscure the lines, and if they're already folded, you can find them. I think you can already tell that we're getting some good texture with this. And y'all, I'll figure out the video stuff soon enough. For the sand for the beach house, no, for my beach house I just painted, I painted Mod Podge on, and then I sprinkled sand on. This is more to make a plaster surface on a house, but you could, you know, I'm sure there are other ways. Oh, well, actually, one reason we're doing this today is because tomorrow's tutorial, tomorrow's project for the Halloween Spooktacular has some texture stuff on it. And I just wanted to show you, it doesn't necessarily have to be a house, even though you know I love to do houses. Now there is a disadvantage if you get this highly textured paint down and you're gluing window frames on and stuff. They're a little harder to glue on because it's rougher. It doesn't have as smooth a surface to adhere. Okay. See? So it's going to make a great surface, and especially good for a Halloween house. And then if you want to distress it, say you overpaint the color you want, and then you want to distress it, you can just use like a little brush and just kind of add a little like black or brown or, you know, purple or some other to kind of accentuate the texture. And that works really well too. I mean, that's one reason I really like it. But I also like to do stuff that just doesn't cost a lot of money. You know, some kind of white paint. And like I said, I choose gesso because it's so flat. It doesn't have any kind of shine to it. And you can get it in a big bottle. It's sort of a clue. If you can get something in a big bottle, it's probably less expensive. If you get it in little tiny jars and bottles, it's probably more expensive. Okay, now let me see. And then I'm going to paint, this is actually Spooktacular House number 1, if you were here for the first day of the craft of the Spooktacular. And I just hid the drawn lines on it, and so I'm using that for this particular project. And what was the other thing I was going to tell you? Oh, and I showed you how to do that in the Cricut, in the tips for using a Cricut Joy. Okay, let me see. I don't know. All right, and then I'm going to paint it yellow because I saw somebody in the Facebook group painted their spooktacular house used yellow cardstock, and it looks so good. So that's what so I'm going to use mustard seed, and that's like definitely yellow. All right, now remember I told you for making stone I use grit paste. Let me move this out of the way. And I'm going to get a spare piece of cardboard. I just want to, and I'm going to bend my computer again, bend my screen forward. I just want to show you the grit paste, and just, it's very smooth. It goes on so smooth. So, you know, if you want to, you can use that. It must have a polymer or something in it because it's so flexible. Whereas the texture paint is not that kind of flexible. And here we go again. Let me see, did anybody else ask any other questions? I think that's it, really. Oh, and so go to my stone tutorial if you want to see how I do the how I stencil stone. And also in the stone tutorial I talk about how I paint the layers. And really, just to give you a little hint, actually let me do a different one. I think this is a better stone example on this stone stencil house. Is to make stone has a lot of different colors in it. So what you do is start off with one color, and then I kind of layer it. I just put I make one side darker than the other. Let me see. Can you kind of tell? I start with the paint on one side I tend to do darker. Again, I'm left-handed, so I generally paint from left to right, and I usually make the left side darker. Of course, this is probably reversed, but I just want you to know that there's no right or wrong. You just kind of play with it, and then, you know, and then you get a stone effect. But I think having lots of different colors. Okay, the other thing is it takes some time. I don't know, I probably spent an hour or more painting the stones on this or on the castle. But for me, it's kind of meditative. If it's not, if you don't like that, and you're like, I can't imagine sitting there, then be sure and pay attention to what Jen Swift teaches you today in her Procreate tutorial, because she shows you how to get texture and dimension, sort of like using art that you found, and how you can make your own wallpapers and stuff using Procreate. So that's what she does, and it's pretty amazing. So that's a faster way if you don't want, if you're, you know, not into like painting for an hour. Okay. Oh, Tiffany Medley asked, how did I learn to do these little houses? I learned, first of all, from what's called Cardboard Christmas Forum. It's kind of an old style forum, and it's based on what they're called putz houses, the little tiny houses. They were most popular in probably the 30s to 50s. They were from Japan, and they were little, and that's where I started. So I learned kind of the basics there, and then we all have these creative impulses. I wasn't content to just do it that way, so I added a lot more texture and paint techniques, and I realized I could really enjoy it more for Halloween houses because I could be, messier and could distress better. So that's when I really fell in love with it, when I started doing the Halloween houses. But I really like the Christmas houses too. And that's what those traditional putz houses were. They were Christmas houses that people set up as a village underneath their Christmas trees. That's where, and I think it's from the German putzen, to place or to decorate, and that's what the putz and putz houses means. Okay. Oh, so Debbie was saying she didn't watch the Jen Swift thing because she doesn't have an iPad or Procreate. I know. I don't know why Procreate is only on iPad, but it is. There are other programs, drawing programs that you can use that can do the same kind of thing. And somebody in our group made a really cool bookstore using papers she got from Canva. So Canva is an online kind of illustration program, graphics program that's pretty amazing, and I use it for a lot of things. Okay. The base for Gwen asked about the base for this clock house. Okay, I did a live on how to make bases, but then we accidentally deleted it. So I've re-recorded it, but I haven't edited it yet. I make them out of several layers of corrugated cardboard. I hot glue them together, cover it with some kind of packing paper or newspaper, and then I paint them. And I generally make a hole in the bottom so you can add a light to your little house. This is a tribute to the old Putz houses, generally have a light in the back because they always had a light in the back. That was the way they were lit up. And this was when they used, those bulbs that got pretty hot. Now we have LED lights, which make it easier. But this one probably has about 5 layers of corrugated cardboard. And I actually I don't always do this, but I made a square so I could anchor the fence. So there's actually one square layer on top that the fence can be glued to, and that makes the fence really sturdy. And I suspect my fence is 2 or 3 layers of cardboard glued together and painted. And so it's a really sturdy fence. Okay, alrighty, I think that's it. And I will be here tomorrow. Oh wait, tomorrow. You're gonna like tomorrow. It's kind of a variation on texture paint. We're making pumpkin spice paint. Pumpkin spice paint. So I've made some houses like that in the past, and it's so nice because they've got such a great fragrance to them. And the reason I thought of it is I live in the South, so if you make a gingerbread house here with humidity, if you make it on December 1st, you're lucky if it stays intact by December 25th. So I thought maybe there's a way to make something like it that looks like it, and it'll last. And so that's how I came up with first my gingerbread paint, but this is going to be a kind of a Halloween version, pumpkin spice paint. I know, it's not so strong that you're like, oh man, it lends fragrance to the whole house. Nope, it doesn't. But if you're near it, you're like, what's that? It's really cool. Okay, but that's what we're going to do tomorrow. Okay, I think I'm going to go. Now let me see if I can do the thing right. Let's see if we can do this. We have a 12. Yes, it worked. 12 by 12 Cardstock Shop is our sponsor, has kindly agreed to sponsoring us, and I hope you will get some of their products because they're amazing, especially, that leather embossed paper. Okay, I'm going to leave now, so you can leave questions for me in the Facebook group. You can email me, and you can email me at help@paperglitterglue.com, or there were 3 ways. Email me, Facebook group. I guess that's enough. Okay, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.